Hey guys, today I'm going to be going over weapons, and that includes what weapons to use with what hero, modifying your weapons, and elements, which includes what elements to use against which element enemies. So first off, if you're going to be playing as a soldier, you're going to probably want to be using assault rifles. If you're going to be playing against or with a constructor, you're going to be wanting to use hardware. Ninjas, you're probably going to want to use at least one sword, and for Outlanders, they get a pistol bonus. So to get your weapons, you can obviously get them out of llamas, or you can go into the collection book and research the item. Now, I suggest watching videos on which weapons are the best, because I only really use the soldiers and the constructors. So for my soldier, I like to use the hacksaw, the hydra, and the siege breakers. Now, the hacksaw is a weapon that I chose because I like to use it to take out bosses and smashers. And this can obviously be used with any class. I use it with my ninja, I use it with my outlander, I use it with my constructors, soldiers, and my hydra. This is the one that you're probably that at least I replace with hardware, a sword, or a pistol, because this is my close range combat. And honestly, with the hydra, it's pretty much a shotgun, like a long distance shotgun, but it has the headshot elimination, causes an explosion damage, damaging enemies within 0.5 tiles for 30% weapon damage, which is amazing for clearing out a group of husks. Which I like using this perk on my sniper weapons and on my shotguns. I don't really consider this perk to matter too much on my siege breakers or my other assault rifles, because they're not really close range, and I'm not going to be getting a lot of headshots on them. But I do have causes affliction damage, headshot damage, and affliction damage on my siege breakers that I use. So when you pick the weapon that you want, these weapons will have perks down at the bottom, and these perks you cannot change. So if I upgrade and modify, I cannot change this. So make sure that's what the gun that you want, because you'll usually have a selection, like my super shredders. I have a couple of them, but I favorited this one because when I do upgrade one of these, I want that elimination explosive damage on it. And for the hemlock, I use the candy corn LMG and the hemlock with my constructor, because my constructor doesn't have as much health, and these are all weapons that give you a health perk bonus. The candy corn will drop little candies that can give you health. The hemlock will upgrade your shield. And I also use this, which is a hardware weapon, which gives me a bonus, and I use this in my shotgun slot. And if you look at this, it says plus 27 armor, plus 27 armor. And it says hitting an enemy with this weapon grants 6% movement speed, so it even gives me a little bit of speed too, which health and speed are a huge component that constructors lack. So you always kind of want to look at your hero and figure out what's best for your play style and how you're going to use that hero. Now, my constructors, I usually use that for my SSDs because they have the base and obviously the building aspect of it. But I do use these health weapons with my constructor. I don't have a specific gun that I use with my Outlander because I usually use my Outlander to farm. And my ninja, I do like the Stormblade, but I don't play as a ninja very often. I usually play as a soldier. So, once you pick the weapon that you want, you can modify everything except for that bottom perk. So make sure if you're using it for a specific thing and you want a specific perk down at that bottom area, before you upgrade it, make sure it has that. Like, I know the Hemlock can come with different it doesn't always come with that that shield perk. So make sure that you have the shield perk on it before you actually, because here's, oh, these ones don't even have it. So let's say you have a legendary one, but it doesn't have that perk and you want that perk. You can take these, upgrade, increase rarity, and when you do that, it should give you an extra perk, that bottom perk that you cannot change. Or maybe actually, no, I don't think this is it, but I didn't realize that it could have more shield gain on it. So go into your weapon, obviously you level it up this way. You can modify your perks, and when you do this, critical hit chance, if it's above 15%, it is worth upgrading, but only if you really want to. Otherwise, it is not worth it. I'm not going to be doing a lot of headshots with this weapon because it's not very good at hitting headshots, because it's got a lot of kick to it. So test out the weapon, see if you're going to be using it for headshots. Obviously snipers you probably will be, shotguns you probably will be, and then go from there and kind of do some critical thinking when you're changing these perks. Like reload speed, that depends on if you need your weapon to be reloaded faster. And like I said, 15% or higher is probably the best. If it's 10%, you do not want to use the crit damage on it. If it's higher than 15%, you probably do want to use the crit damage on it. I think, as you see, my siege breakers, some of them have crit damage, but the rest of them have I should have damage on them, but see, my hit crit chance is 35%. It's 38% on my Hydra, which, I mean, that's not bad. As long as it starts above 15, that's fine. But build your weapon to what you're going to be using it for. Like I said, the hacksaw I use for bosses, so I have that boss perk on it, and I actually end up having that boss perk on a lot of things, which I might change it on here because obviously I'm gonna have this for that, so I won't need that. When you're done with that, what I like to do is I like to use my siege breakers for elementals, and you can change it whenever you want, so don't be afraid to change it. I have so much fire up, amp up, and it just, I don't know, when you get to higher levels you don't really worry about this stuff too much. I'd say pick like 3-4 weapons that you like and then kind of spread out your modifications as you go. That way you don't just have one really amazing gun. And what I did was I started out with the element on it, and then later on, once I get more weapons higher up, I can change them to specific elements, which I did with my assault rifles, because this is my third gun. So I have this in my first slot, I have this in my second slot, and then one of these will be in my third slot. And water weapons are what you're going to be using against fire husks. Nature weapons are what you're going to be using against water husks. And fire weapons are what you are going to be using against nature husks. And I'm trying to make this more clear because a couple of games that I've been playing, I've seen people using the wrong weapon against the wrong husks. And I thought a little bit about it, and it kind of used to confuse me at the beginning. But it's not really that confusing if you think about it, because water puts out fire. Fire destroys nature. And I guess it gets a little murky when it goes to nature against water. But if you think of it this way, this is how I used to like to think of it. Water is obvious. Water puts out fire. Fire will burn and destroy nature, so it will burn down a forest. And nature will soak up water. It will like a plant kind of soaks up water, or the earth soaks up water, or like nature will kind of bowl water into pools. And that's that's kind of the best way I can explain it, because it does get a little weird when it gets to nature against water. So, that is all I had for the weapons. I hope this video helped. And then again, if you're gonna go and look into more weapons and what they do, a lot of people put out videos of new weapons so you can see if they're pretty good. I really do like the hacksaw. I can recommend the Hydra, especially with that headshot elimination. And then the hemlock is really good if you want to keep your shield up. It's not very accurate, but like I said, I'm going to be using it for my constructor. So yeah, thanks for watching. Have a great day.